The world of 2142 finds two major coalitions facing each other. We have an ice age that's been forming over the last few decades, and the ice is creeping further south. Both Russia and Europe find that the only place they can go is south. Russia formed the Pan-Asian coalition. They can't go too far south because there are other regions there that have a lot of people in them. So the only place they can go is through Europe into Africa. The Europeans also are forming a coalition called the European Union. They mean to stop the Russians and take Africa for themselves so that they can live through the long winter that's coming. 2142 is founded on the Battlefield 2 engine. That's how we're actually able to get it out as quickly as we can. However, we have added quite a few bells and whistles on the graphical department. So you're going to go see things like alpha blend on our vegetation. You'll see bloom in the world. The world itself is going to look completely different. You're not going to recognize it as a battlefield level because of the lighting effects, environmental mapping on objects. It comes to life. When we started with 2142, it felt the challenge was to give people a game that felt completely of its own. And we've done that through a lot of different ways. One is through visuals, a lot of new graphical bells and whistles. And the other is through gameplay, a lot more gameplay. As examples of that, we have things like, two variants of the tanks. So the EU have this large, heavy tank, reminiscent, if you will, of a Tiger tank, whereas the PAC forces have a hover tank. Both of them handle quite differently.
In the Battlefield franchise, generically, there haven't been a lot of differences between the two sides, and it's kind of part of a gameplay philosophy that we have, but in an artistic sense, in 2142, there is actually some pretty pronounced differences between the style in which they're built.
The basic differences when you look at weapons and vehicles is that the EU side has a more angular, sharp corners and more boxy feel to them, more stealthy shapes and forms, while the PAC side has more curves, rounder forms and so on. And the PAC have a slightly more advanced technology. That's why they have the hover tank, for example. So those things are we try to build those into the PAC side as well.
As we've been developing each of our vehicles, we've been very aware of some of the imbalances that people have discussed in some of the previous Battlefield titles. And our goal has always been to address that as we move forward. So one of the things you're going to see is things like active defense, which gives everyone a chance to survive that first contact with a gunship and bug out. So it's the wise gunship pilot who can try to stay undetected long enough to be effective.
In BF2142, we combined the jet and the helicopter class into one kind of air attack vehicle that doesn't do so much bombing or large area destruction. It's more of the role of helicopter, air-to-ground, anti-vehicle kind of role in the game. But you can still dogfight one another better than two helicopters having this strange ballet in the air.
You have things like for the infantry forces, you have motion mines. So as a vehicle comes into its range, this mine will activate and pop up. For the observant vehicle drivers, they can slam on the brakes and hopefully back away out of the detection range. Others won't be so lucky, and as they blow by it, the mines will actually track to them, chase them.
When designing the weapons for 2142, we got inspiration from different stuff. I mean, the guns from today, guns from other games, and we just tried to combine them and get a look that looks realistic, but yet futuristic.
One of the big reasons we stuck with bullets and not went with lasers or ray guns is you get a better gaming experience. You know, when my gun kicks and it has recoil and I can feel the gun firing in my hands, you know, it feels much more alive. It makes the game feel better. It makes it more fun than pew pew, I win.
One of my favorite weapons right now is the EU rifle rocket. Now this thing is basically standard thump rocket when it's not zoomed. But when you zoom in, it actually sets the detonation range. And then you can use the mouse wheel to increase or decrease where it will detonate. So if there's somebody hiding behind a wall, you can actually set the target on the wall, increment it by a couple of meters, and fire. And do these airburst effects, which is really sweet.
Yeah, one new thing in the Battlefield 2142 is the dog tags. When you come up to an opponent and you knife him, you actually get your opponent's dog tag.
There will be a small visual representation on the screen that actually took his dog tag with his name on. And that will then be possible to follow up on the leaderboards. You can see on the leaderboards all the guys you have dog tagged basically, so you can sort them out and see how many you have. So it's proven to be a very good thing.
You always send out an email to everyone so everyone knows you got that guy's dog tag, or you probably got him twice or 3 times, so you can really spam that guy.
One of our playtesters is really into the dog tags, and you'll find him running at you with a knife in every situation, and he's got a list of people going, and his goal before the end of the project is to get all of the dog tags of all the devs. Well, he's got mine.